Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we created this show for you because we want everybody with an invisible condition to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that they have a voice, they have a community, and they're not alone because you are not alone. And that's what we are all about around here is community. Speaking of community, my guest today, Mayim Vega, is a naturopathic herbalist who is the founder of Ruka.com, the Holistic Life Academy. And when she was 45 years old, she started feeling the extreme demands of being a homeschool mom with 9 children, as well as running her online school. And she started suffering from like severe hypothyroidism. That's a tongue twister. My symptoms were so severe at one point that she thought she was in shock and might be on her deathbed. But of course, being a holistic healer, having stayed away from conventional medicine and traditional doctors for nearly 20 years, she was determined to heal herself using her knowledge of nutrition, herbalism, and holistic health, which I love that. Because, yeah, everybody's got a story about doctors, right? So today she's going to share with us about how she did indeed master her hypothyroidism and manages using safe, natural methods to this day to manage it and tame the beast, so to speak, I guess, is how you. So Mayim has never had to visit a doctor or take any kind of hormones or pharmaceutical drugs to treat her hypothyroidism, which is awesome. And so she is now writing a book about her health journey and is releasing it chapter by chapter for free before it is published. So it's going to be pretty cool. I can't wait for you to meet her. So here we go. Here's Mayim. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, shalom, Jeff. Thank you so much for the warm introduction. And yeah, that's a mouthful, right? Hypothyroidism.
I know, like
that?
there's hyper and hypo, and I don't know. It's just
6 syllables.
Kind of makes my head explode a little bit. Yeah. So tell us about like you. I've known relatives. I've had relatives and friends that have had thyroid issues and things like that. But what kind of symptoms did you start noticing that was like, hey, this isn't right? We got to check this out.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Looking back now, I believe it's partly hereditary because my daughter, when she also started experiencing some fatigue, and when I started giving her some of the things that I was doing for hypothyroidism, she started her symptoms also started improving. And I did experience a lot of the symptoms, not very mild though, nothing that would have caused me to think about treating myself or anything like that. But I did experience some like mild version of the symptoms when I was in maybe college or around that as a young adult. But but it was basically last year when it got really, really bad. And I've given birth to 7 children. I have 9 that I take care of now and homeschool. And after my 7th birth, I didn't recover fully. Like it naturally takes a while to recover from birth, of course.
Yeah,
at least a year, but it was coming on over 2 years, and I still did not feel like myself. And my hair naturally falls out more after you give birth when you're pregnant. Your body kind of keeps all the nutrition it can, to nourish your
Yeah.
baby and yourself. And then after you give birth, you actually lose more hair than normal because you were holding it back beforehand. So I lost a lot of hair, but usually I have very long hair and it grows back in like a year or two. But it was 2 years and I still, I looked weird because, my hair wasn't growing back
Yeah.
and it was like
Huh.
different lengths and it was like really weird. But I don't care. I'm not like I don't care. Just I always, have my hair back anyway. So that wasn't a big deal for me. But I did have a lot of fatigue and I'm an entrepreneur, so and a homeschool mom,
Yeah.
which means that I have to, divide up my time very strategically in order to get everything done that I want to do. And I also like to eat healthy. And so we like to make our own food. We don't
Yeah.
eat a lot of junk food or fast food. So that, I've got a lot on my plate. And and so I need a lot of energy. Right. So
Right.
and I
Yeah.
started experiencing just like this great reduction in energy. But I think the worst thing that happened to me that led me to finally like, okay, I need to do something about this
Yeah.
was one day out of the blue, not really out of the blue, and I'll tell you why later, but I started uh, getting extremely cold, and I live in Texas, and this was last summer, right?
Oh,
But
man.
it
Yeah.
it hit 110 degrees in Texas.
Mm.
I think it was last week.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that's normal. Like at least once a year we hit 110 degrees. And it's like it's August, right? It's
Yeah.
almost September. So it's not getting cooler yet for the fall. Anyways, so it was really hot. I don't think it was 110. I think it was like 105 degrees outside on a summer day.
Wow.
It was around noon, almost noon. It was like maybe 11:30, 11, something like that. And I started getting extremely cold. I was
Mm.
shivering. I was freezing. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I thought I was going in shock. I was like
Yeah.
shaking. And I was like, I went to the closet to get my winter coat on. I went to go get a winter down jacket in the middle of summer when it was 105 degrees outside. And I'm like, I need some hot tea. I asked my husband to make me some hot tea, please, because I was too busy like trying to keep myself warm. And I was like, this is weird. This is wild. So I took my hot tea and my down jacket, and I'm like, I need to go outside where it's hot, where it's warm. And so I went outside where it was warm in my down jacket, drinking my hot tea in 105-degree weather. And so that was like, something is seriously wrong with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I found out that something was wrong with me. We didn't yet know it was hypothyroidism, but we have tools on the internet, that can easily help you diagnose things. Now, of course, it's not exact, so there were several things that came up. My husband helped me to do the research on this because I was sitting there like sick. So he was like, what is
Yeah.
going on? So he typed in all my symptoms, and then he's like, you have hypothyroidism. I was like, interesting, really? Okay. And that day was Shabbat. It was the Sabbath for us, and we have a little home group here, and we had people coming over that day. And I'm a trooper. I'm like, and he's like, should I send everyone away? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Like, I'll just sit here and you guys do your thing. Don't worry about me. Like, I'm tough. He's like, okay, but so people came over and he told them what was going on, and they were kind of freaked out, but they were praying for me, so it's good. They started praying for me, and so anyways, two of our friends that come over to our home group on Shabbat, they're doctors, and so they were very concerned about me, and they were like, you need to go see a doctor. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna rule that out. I'm like, okay. I haven't been to a conventional medical doctor in like 20 years, but I feel like this is really weird. And I feel like this could be my deathbed. I mean, it's weird, right? To be drinking hot tea and wearing a down jacket in 105-degree weather. You think something's got to be wrong.
Well, and there's something. I mean, when you've taken care of yourself with your own holistic methods and like done the naturopathic route for so long, you still got to know that there's there is a place. There's sometimes is still a place for traditional medicine if
Right.
if it's like I wouldn't be here if it weren't for traditional medicine. You can't holistically do brain surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
Exactly. Yeah.
really you just got to bite the bullet and go to the doctor. But I get that you didn't want to, and I don't I can count the times on one hand I've gone to the doctor in the last the regular GP doc in the last 20 years too. So I totally get it. But I just want to just pardon me, forgive me. I just want to throw this out there for the audience just to see if we get if there's interaction. I want to address this. But has anyone out there listening in the world had anything like a thyroid condition? Because that like I said, I've had some relatives with it, with some stuff like that, and which kind of makes me wonder, now that you're saying the hereditary thing, I'm kind of wondering like what I should be watching for, but we could talk about that later. But yeah, just curious, everybody, if you or anybody you've got somebody to ask questions of right here for the next 45 minutes or so jump
Mhm.
in here. So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a bit of an echo. I think, okay, it went away.
Oh,
Um, so we eventually went to this emergency care place that was nearby my house. And um, the truth is, they were really rude. They were really rude. And I was like, they were stressing me out. I'm like, I'm sick right now. These people are being extremely rude to me. And so I ended up not wanting, and I was like, I'm getting out of here. I can't. For me, as a holistic healer, it's not just about the body, it's about mind, body, and spirit. And I will not submit myself to be cared for to people who are cruel, who don't even understand customer service. Just because this is emergency services doesn't mean that you can be rude to people. So, anyways,
I've
I
been
ended up.
there. Yeah, totally. I agree.
And I'm not telling people that they shouldn't go to the doctor or whatever. They should do what I'm doing. I'm just telling you my story, right? I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
saying.
yeah. Well, and what if anything, you're saying, okay, medical professionals, it's okay to be nice. Sometimes I
Yeah, and no, of
understand
course,
there's
not
rough
everyone's
days,
like
but
that. It's just
whew,
my personal experience that day.
yeah, yeah,
So,
sure.
anyways, but that's what made me like, okay, forget this. I'm just gonna do this completely by myself. Um, so I went back home and I'm like, okay, I can do this. I do this for everything else in my family. Sure, this seems really bad, but I don't see why I can't do this. So um, I just started doing my research, and eventually I came across some really powerful holistic remedies.
Nice.
And that's what I'm going to be sharing in my book, basically.
Yeah, well, we're gonna tackle that in the second segment. So everybody, come back for that because it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I can't wait for them to hear about that. But I just have to throw this out there because you kind of I said it in the intro and you've mentioned it a couple times, but it's a big deal, and I want to say something about it. You've birthed 7 children. You've
Yes,
actually given birth to 7 children. Okay, first of all, congratulations. That's amazing. That's like we've got some relatives with 5, with what's one of them, like 9 or something. We have 3. That was good. We're you know 7 is amazing. So well done. And were those home births, or were those like were you? I'm just curious.
yeah. So the first one was birthed at the hospital. My oldest was birthed at the hospital.
Yeah,
And again, I just felt like I wasn't happy with my hospital experience. So I'm
yeah.
like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this at home. And so the rest the rest were born at home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, our first two were in the hospital, and then our last one was at home, and I got to catch, so it was fun. But but yeah, this home birth. I mean, I kind of figured you were going to say that because of the nature of what we're talking about. But I was just curious. That's so cool. I just had to point that out. That's amazing. So yeah. So what was that? What was that like pivotal moment? You kind of alluded to it a minute ago, but what was that like? Okay, we're not doing this doctor route. We're going to do it holistically, and I'm going home, and we're going to figure it out.
Yeah, well, they're basically being really rude at the hospital, and I knew that, that I had conquered a lot of issues in the past
Yeah.
holistically as well. This is about invisible conditions, and this wasn't my first. Hypothyroidism. I was suffering with it for years, not to the same degree, obviously. No one could tell, but there were other things in the past too. When I first started becoming an entrepreneur and starting my online business, I was under a lot of stress, and I started
Yeah.
suffering from severe migraines. And when I started suffering from severe migraines, again, it became so bad that I couldn't sleep, and the pain was just so bad. And before that, I never really even got headaches before. So to be suffering from migraines, it was like it was
Yeah.
really scary for me,
Those are
and
brutal.
that
Yeah.
yeah, and again, at that time, I was like, I feel like I'm about to die. And I had my husband drive me to the emergency room at night because, the over-the-counter medication just stopped working. There's
Yeah.
Tylenol and an extra strength Tylenol, and, it didn't work anymore. They were
Yep.
just Band-Aids that kept falling off and not really helping.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I went to the emergency room, we stayed there for hours, and they asked me a bunch of questions, and they ran a bunch of tests for me, and they're like, well, we can't find anything wrong with you, but we want you to talk to the doctor. So I talked to the doctor, and then the doctor was like, well, we want you to take this CT scan to rule out the possibility of a tumor. And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't have anything else to do, right now. I can't sleep. I can't work. I can't do anything. So let's do it.
Yeah.
And we had to pay everything out of pocket. Back then, that was a long time ago. It cost about, I think $4,000, $5,000.
Yeah.
But today it would have been a lot more than that. Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know, at least
Yeah, they're not cheap.
$10,000 or something. Yeah.
I agree.
And then after that, they came back a few hours later again, and they're like, well, we can't find anything wrong with you. You're perfectly fine. Here's some
Yeah.
here's some Valium. And
Oh.
I'm like, okay, well, I had been down this route before, even before that, and I had taken Valium, and I took the Valium, but it wasn't a real cure. I was not getting migraines because of a lack of Valium, and that was really actually
Right.
that was actually when I took my health and healing and my family's health and healing into my own hands, and I decided to study for myself how to become a holistic healer. And so I ended up, I did find my own cure for my migraines,
Nice.
and it involved supplements, it involved diet changes, and it also involved lifestyle and mindset changes. Basically, I was trying to build my online business because I wanted to stay at home with my children after I'd given birth to my first and second. I think I had two children by then, and I wanted to homeschool, but just the stress of it all and the worry that comes from being your own boss, being an entrepreneur. I didn't know how to handle it, and I didn't know, I didn't know how important it was to not stress, to not worry, to trust in God, and to put in that hard work, that diligence, but to also just trust that when you do your part, God will do his part to bless you. And I didn't
Exactly.
get that. And I was pushing myself way too hard. I wasn't getting the kind of rest and, things like that that I needed.
Yeah.
And so that was the real root cause of my migraine. And for my hypothyroidism, there was again, it was again another just major event in my life. As I said, I gave birth to 7 children of my own,
Yeah.
but we had kind of inherited 2 other children,
Okay.
um, and they were older, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful children. They're gifts from God.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people know and understand that it's hard to kind of blend 2 families.
It can.
Especially if children had been um, part of the foster system
Oof,
in the
yeah.
past, and they have various issues. So
Yeah.
it was very challenging. That was a very challenging year for me, on top of everything else that I had to integrate, you know, these
For
children into our
sure.
family. And it was a big strain on our marriage as well.
Yeah.
We had to get marriage coaching. I got life coaching, in addition to, the diet and herbs and supplements. Like, it was
Sure.
truly holistic. I truly had to approach it from all avenues, from all perspectives.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because if you're having a problem, whether it's with your diet, with your health, with your marriage, with your integrating, children into the family, get help, for crying out loud. That's what it's for. So, but I kind of want to take this time as a kind of a natural break here and go to a commercial, and because we're kind of, I feel like we're kind of shifting in the story here, and we're gonna be talking kind of more about how you, so the first segment was kind of what's been happening and how you came to the realization that we have to do something different. And then in the second segment, this is the part that I'm excited about, because this is where we're going to talk about how you actually did it and conquered your hypothyroidism, and developed your program, and everything like that. So that is going to be awesome, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So stick around. If you don't mind, I'm going to take you off screen just for a second, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. So thank you, Maya. All right, here we go. We'll be back in just a minute or two. Stay with us. All right. This is the good stuff right here, because I know we got to get the background, and we got to get the story, and we got to get, this is what we went through a little bit, and but kind of my favorite thing. Well, my favorite thing is the third segment, but my favorite thing leading up to that is, okay, now you've been through it. Now, what did you do to take hold of it and conquer it and help other people do the same thing? So, you've got quite the healing journey as you're conquering this condition, and I want to tell us about how that started.
Yeah. So basically, in my school, Ruka.com, the Holistic Life Academy, I train people to become holistic healers. So we cover what I call the Aruka method for holistic health and healing. And so, the reason I'm going to talk about it this way is because this is how I approach everything, including my own condition. And, when I have students that I teach and coach, this is what I ask them to look at. Okay. First, we look at, are they following basic holistic health and healing principles? Are they getting enough rest? Are they getting enough sunshine? I was not getting enough rest. I was sleeping late, and it was a lot of stress. So there's sleep in terms of rest, but there's also rest in terms of being at peace. So I wasn't getting either of those kinds of things. So holistic health principles, vitamin D and sunshine. I was not getting out in nature enough. and I had to just start forcing myself to make time for that. I felt like I don't have enough time. I have too many things to do on top of this other stuff. But I just had to. I had to just take time for self-care and stuff like that. We also, my students learn about various types of toxins. Now, I already knew about a lot of those types of toxins in terms of toxins, in our water, in the air, with EMFs and stuff like that. I did a pretty good job at that already. But what I wasn't detoxing myself from was, and that I had to do was basically um, a toxic mindset and kind of environment. I had to recreate my environment in such a way that I wasn't doing everything myself, that I had the support system that I needed, that I wasn't being influenced by things and people that were being negative, or at least not letting the negativity get to me. So that's a big part of holistic health and healing. And I think we greatly underestimate the impact that stress and negativity and being in, stressful situations and toxic relationships and stuff like that, toxic environments, we underestimate the impact that can have on our health and healing. But, looking back, probably my three biggest health issues that I had in my life, stress and this kind of toxicity greatly contributed to it. Sure, I may have had hypothyroidism to a degree, or maybe from birth or something. Maybe I inherited this type of weakness, but it was pushing myself to to this time in my life that was extremely stressful, that that pulled the trigger, so to speak, on my disease. So that was a big part of it. And another thing is, of course, our students study about different diet theories. We have all sorts of different diet theories, right? The one that is my favorite is it's called the Maker's Diet, and it's written by a Jew. His name is Jordan Rubin, and it talks about how our ancestors ate, but it also talks about the wisdom of the Bible and eating according to dietary laws in the Bible and the wisdom in that, and the health and healing properties of that.
I actually love that because you mentioned Jordan Rubin. I hadn't heard that name in so long. Yeah, we've read some of his stuff. He's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well done. Yeah.
And there's other diet theories like the keto diet, of course,
Sure.
intermittent fasting, different things like that. So our students learn about different diet theories. And sorry. I believe that the best, I don't like to say everyone should eat this way. It's no good to be extreme like that. But I do believe that the Maker's Diet is the ideal diet if your body can handle it. Not everyone can handle it. So, for example, he says to eat dairy, and some people are lactose intolerant. But if you're not lactose intolerant, good dairy, fermented dairy, raw dairy, organic grass-fed dairy.
Raw dairy can be tough to find because it's not really regulated, right? So that's I've heard of raw dairy, and there's a place in our city that you can get it, but it's really hard to find. Have you? How do you find that stuff?
Well, in California, they sold it at Sprouts. You could just go to Sprouts grocery store and buy it. And here in Texas, it's illegal. Yeah, in Texas, it's illegal to buy it from a grocery store, but you can buy it directly from the farm. And we have tons of farms. This is Texas. We grow cows. There's farms everywhere, even in Dallas City. There's farms. It's funny because when we first moved to Dallas, we were looking for a house, and there was this one house in their backyard as pets. This is a rich area. They had a zebra
Ah,
and like
what?
longhorn buffalo or bison or
Come
something
on.
as pets in their,
Get
I
out
mean,
of here.
in their backyard.
Oh,
I was like, well, this is wild,
what do
Texas.
you get for
Anyway.
the person that has it all, right? Come on.
Yeah, right, really. Um, anyways,
Anyway,
yeah.
back to
So
the
I
story.
mean,
Yeah.
it's not a one size fits all, but that is how our family eats. But when I got hypothyroidism, what really helped me, what really aided me in healing was going on a carnivore diet for a short period of time.
Hmm.
So eating mostly meat, mostly red meat, actually, for a very short period of time. I also ate a little bit of fruit and white rice, and that's it. It sounds strange, but there are actually a lot of people who have healed themselves from hypothyroidism and other autoimmune disorders using a carnivore diet. Now it's very hard to do that. I love vegetables, so I didn't stay on that diet very long, but it's a great elimination diet. And through that diet, I was able to find out that there are certain foods, um, s- vegetables, actually goitrogen vegetables, that were very bad for my thyroid, that attacked my thyroid. And it was, through eliminating everything except for, these very simple foods like meat. So the carnivore diet is the best elimination diet to find out what you are allergic from, because pretty much no one is allergic to meat, but
Right.
but everyone is allergic to, not everyone.
Yeah.
Someone is allergic to some kind of vegetable or sometimes grain,
Yeah.
so it's an excellent elimination diet. Now, a lot of carnivore diet advocates are very extreme, and they feel like everyone should be on the carnivore diet forever, and it's like I don't believe in that. I hate extremes. I think it's very dangerous when people say like everyone should be vegan, everyone should be carnivore, everyone should be this, everyone should be that.
Right.
No, that's dangerous health information.
Yeah.
And there are some people who do it for religious reasons, and I think that sometimes that can be even more dangerous, because then it's not just a matter of um, you know, health. You're making it a matter of your relationship with God. And if you have a diet that is harming you, I do not believe that God wants you to be on that diet. Maybe,
No.
some, and I've had people, they come to me, they're like, well, God told me to be vegan. And I'm like, I don't want to judge and I don't want to speak for God, but maybe he did say that you should be vegan for a while. A vegan diet can be cleansing. A vegan diet can also be healing for a time, but that doesn't mean that you should always be vegan. That certainly doesn't mean that everyone should be vegan. And
Right.
there are a lot of health issues that can be caused by veganism also. And going back to what I was saying before about my migraines, that was a time when we were mostly mostly vegetarian, almost vegan. And I found out that I had B12 deficiencies, and I had
Mhm.
to start eating more meat in my diet, meat and dairy in my diet. That was part of what helped me to overcome the terrible migraines. Anyway, so the carnivore diet was part of what helped me. And I was on that diet for maybe just a few months, 2 or 3 months. And through the carnivore diet, through that elimination diet, I found out that goitrogens were very harmful for me.
Mm.
So when I started incorporating more variety into my diet, I was like, okay, I feel good now. I want to start eating more food, not just meat all the time. I started incorporating vegetables, and I found out that goitrogen vegetables, which include cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, they
Mhm.
were very bad for my thyroid. And when I would eat even a little bit of it, I would get the hypothyroid symptom skin. I would get
Mm.
extremely tired, extremely cold, things like that. So I
Mm.
was like, wow, I need to just stay away from it. And sometimes I like to experiment. I'm like, well, let me try just a little bit and see if I'm okay now. And so far, my body is telling me still, no, I don't want you to eat that right now. I can't
Yeah.
handle that right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll come to a point where I can again, but If you have hypothyroidism, goitrogen and vegetables will basically block your ability to absorb iodine. And iodine is very healing, very important for the thyroid. And that's one of the most important supplements that I take for my hypothyroidism. There's a lot of controversy surrounding there's a lot of controversy. Catherine Pearson just said, totally agree. Long-term extreme diets are concerning. Absolutely.
Yep.
You've got to not be religious about diet. You've got to let your body speak to you. Our bodies speak to us. I don't really believe in disease. I believe that disease, symptoms, all these things, they're a gift from God to tell us, hey, you know what? There's something that I need from you. I need certain kind of food. I need certain kind of herb. I need a certain kind of, supplement. I need you to stop worrying so much. I need you to start resting more. I need you to start being out in nature more, being out in sunshine more. That's what these symptoms mean.
Yeah.
I've been sitting a lot, and my body has recently been telling me, you know what, you need to get up and stand up and start walking around more.
Right. Yeah.
That's what back pain is.
I mean, there's so many people that they take these pills and think they need them, and it's like, look, you're not your body's not telling you you have a Zoloft deficiency or whatever, or like a Xanax deficiency. You're it's not that. It's not the pill that you need. It's figuring out what your body actually needs.
Yeah, and you might want to take the pill for short term in order to
get the symptoms under control.
emergency needs, but you can't do that long term because of exactly what you said. That's not what your body needs.
Yeah.
And when you continually try to silence your symptoms with these pharmaceutical drugs that your body doesn't really need and have tons of side effects, including death oftentimes, and even more serious illnesses than you originally took them from, what you're doing is you're telling your body, be quiet. I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm just going to take this pill so that you can be quiet. Instead of saying, oh, body,
which is dangerous.
You are hurting me right now. What do you need?
Right?
What can I do for you? How can I serve you, buddy?
Yeah, listen up, man. It might tell you.
Yes.
Seriously.
Listen up,
go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, listen up, but also do your research. Do your research. And that's basically why I started my schools, because we have become so ignorant of what it means to be healthy. And we have been just fed with lots of lies and propaganda in terms of what is food and what is a healthy lifestyle and what is acceptable for health. And we've been told that there's nothing that you can do to cure ABC. What you eat doesn't matter. Exercise has little effect. You have to be on this medication for life.
Yeah.
all these lies. There's so many lies that keep us sick. And that's what I believe the true cause of disease is the lies, lies about all sorts of different things.
No kidding. I'm totally with you on that. Yeah, it's become a whole industry of it. So, you know what, this has been, I know this is a big subject, and I know we're not going to fit it all in probably not even in one episode, but we got to go to one more break. But at the end of that break, we're going to come into the last segment, and I want you guys to hear. Yeah, Mime, I want you to tell everybody about a little more about your book, because that's going to be awesome, and then because the book is huge, and we want to get that out there. And so we're gonna go to one more break, and then stick around, because this book's gonna be great. So hold on just a second. Where is it? There we go. All right, we'll be back in just a second. Stay tuned. All right, here we go. So we were talking about you're starting to talk about kind of how your program works, but we haven't really talked about your book, and I want to get to that, because that's I'm sure that's part of, if somebody enrolls in your program for you to help them, I'm guessing the book is part of it too, right? Or is it just related?
Well, I just started writing books to to help people, really. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
um, I finished a book on hearing loss not too long ago, and I have so the new one that I've started is on hypothyroidism. I also have this other book that I'm working on um, uh, about the top 10 supplements, like the top 10 supplements that I recommend.
nice.
Um, so that's like halfway finished, but I really wanted to start this hypothyroidism one. And that's available at aruka.com/hypothyroid.
Nice.
And the way that I like to do it is I like to write and release chapter by chapter. And I write short books. Like I think the last one was only like maybe 50 pages long.
Okay.
And so this one, not sure how long it'll be in the end, but I'm planning to email it out to my list whenever a chapter is done. So if anyone is interested in getting that, I do, eventually plan to put on Kindle and audible.com. So again, that's aruka.com, arukah.com/hypothyroid, hypothyroid. And basically I'm just going to write about, my journey through hypothyroidism. I've explained a little bit here. And I'm
Yeah.
also going to talk about the things that I did to overcome it. I talked about the mindset, talked about the life coaching and the marriage coaching, and I'll talk about those things more in the book. And I'm going to go into the iodine, why it's important for thyroid health. I'm going to go into diet. And another thing that we study at the school that my students study is orthomolecular nutrition, which is mega dose vitamin therapy, which means healing yourself through mega doses of different vitamins and minerals, different supplements like iodine, vitamin C. They're so powerful and so affordable. And
Yeah.
also herbalism, what herbal remedies do I use, do I take in order to support my thyroid and support me through hypothyroidism. And so those are also the things that, when people study to become a holistic healer through aruka.com, they learn all those things. They learn about herbalism, they learn about orthomolecular nutrition, different diet theories, detoxification, and just the foundations of holistic health and healing. So the book will be about specifically about all those things, but for hypothyroidism.
Awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. So yeah, and we got I think I put the right link up there. So and it's in the notes too. It'll be, we can always post it, uh, post show on the link as well and share that out. So that's gonna be great. I can't wait for people to get those chapters and check it out. So just throwing this out there. This is a question I ask everybody. I have to ask a couple questions of everybody on the show, and of course everybody has their own, kind of their own battle story, right? Through their condition, what they've been through, and what they've, you know, come out the other side from. Uh, During all of this, how do you find hope?
How do I find hope? Well, I would have to say, first of all, I'd like to go back again to my school because, one of the things that sets my school apart from others is that most holistic health and healing schools have a very new agey kind of um, pagan component to it. And I'm not saying that to blame anyone because truly holistic health and healing, it has to be about mind, body, and spirit. So you've got to get the spirit out there. And if someone if that's their religion is new age or paganism or whatever, then they have to talk about it. And for me, I believe in the God of the Bible. I believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that is truly, I think that's step one. um, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And it is God that has led me to truth, has led me to realize that no, healing doesn't come from pharmaceutical medications. Everything that I have to heal you is safe, is natural, is affordable, You don't have to go into extreme debt in order to heal you. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, get surgery, which, can be very expensive. But
Mhm.
in my journey, I have been able to heal myself without the use of any pharmaceutical medications, doctors, hospital visits, dentists. So, what gives me hope is that there is a creator who created all things. He created the heavens, he created the earth, he created us. We are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mm.
And not only is he the creator of all things, he is also the great physician. And I believe that the way that he people is through leading them to truth, it's to guiding them through to truth. And everything that, I credit him for teaching me, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
conflicting information out there. Even, when I was researching hypothyroidism, there were books that I read that told me to do the complete opposite of what actually brought me health and healing. And so
Uh,
how do you discern when there's so many voices out there? I discern because of my faith and trust in God,
yeah.
that he will give me that wisdom. If we pray for it, if we trust that he will give us that wisdom,
Yeah.
and that he will guide us and he will lead us, and he will work with us to find holistic health and healing.
100%. He's the great physician, exactly. So yeah, why he knows us better than we know ourselves. So why not ask? He might tell you, right? So is there so yeah, thank you. That was perfect. That you stated that very well. I love that. Is there anything that you can pinpoint that you've gone through over these last few years to get to here that, I mean, with all these challenges, what are you thankful for through all of that?
Yes, absolutely. I love that question. So everything in life, I believe, as a Jew, I believe that everything in life is from. So Hashem. When I say Hashem, Jews say Hashem when they talk about God. Hashem means the name, and the name Hashem, it means literally the name, but it stands for the sacred name of God, Yud He Vav He. Okay, so um, I believe that everything comes from Hashem. It comes from Yud He Vav He. It comes from the Eternal One, good and bad. And when he brings good, of course, it's because that's his nature. He is good. He wants us to have good things.
Mm-hmm.
And when he brings the bad, it is still also to bring the good
Yeah.
eventually. So I have to really, you know, count the blessings, everything. Even
Yep.
if you're on your deathbed, you know what? There's going to be some good that comes out of it. If you just stop to find it, to look for it, you will find it. So I felt like I was on my deathbed twice, right? The first time I thought I was on my deathbed, it led me to become a holistic healer. And I learned how to have this skill that has been able to help me stay healthy and heal my family of
Yeah.
all sorts of different types of diseases and conditions. And now I'm able to teach others how to do the same. I have students who are even doctors and nurses who are learning from me because, they don't teach this. They don't teach this kind of stuff in medical school.
Mm-mm.
Um, and so that's the blessing that came from my first issue. And the blessing that came from my second issue is it drew my family closer, you know.
Nice.
It reconfirmed to me just the power of God and the power of his natural remedies that he
Mhm.
gave to us on this earth.
Yeah.
It confirmed to me, sometimes he puts us through things so that we can look up to him again. And
Yeah.
now I'm able to help people through hypothyroidism in specific. I not only can I can help people almost no matter whatever the issue is. There's something that I can help people with. But when you have intimate knowledge of that issue, there's something special there.
That's awesome.
So now I have intimate knowledge of hypothyroidism that I can guide people with. and through. And so these are the blessings. Every single challenge that we have in life, you can either see it as a curse or a blessing. And the truth is, it's both. It's a curse, maybe, but you
It
know what?
can
We
be.
can also turn it into a blessing if we look for it and if we look up, if we trust in God to turn that curse into a blessing, to turn, beauty from ashes, right?
Right. I love that. Yeah. Thank you. That's perfect. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I totally agree. That is beautifully stated. Um, so we're about out of time, but if we have all your information in the notes, because I want people to be able to get a hold of you. And so we're going to make sure that all of that is in there. But quickly, in like 10 seconds or less, do you have contact info that you'd want to get out there for people to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So please go ahead and subscribe to my hypothyroidism book to receive the chapters for free. And I also have a free course, 8 Secrets to Becoming a Holistic Healer, and that explains more about the certification program to
Awesome.
learn naturopathic herbalism to become a holistic healer. And that's at www.aruka.com/free. And I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/Aruka. I'm on Facebook. Let me see. I can Facebook.com slash no
I
Facebook.com.
think we've I think we've got all that in the notes too.
Okay. Yeah.
If you go
I
to
am
the
Aruka.
episode, it'll be in there. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I know we're already out of time. It goes so fast, but I am so thankful that you've been here and that you've been able to share this with everybody. And I just thank you. Thank you for being here and being my guest today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. All right, everybody. We are out of time. It always goes so fast. So, but join me for the next show Friday. We're already in September 1st. Casey and Kepler. We get a 2-for-1 that day. It's going to be awesome. They're going to be introducing us to a program endorsed by Paul Newman, of all people, the late Paul Newman. And it's going to be amazing. You're not going to want to miss it. Join me Friday, September 1st. We'll see you on the next show.